Hello, my fellow metrologists. Welcome to another edition of Chat Nap with AI Chatterbox, Chuck and Howie, a podcast dedicated to the field of metrology. I'm Chuck Ellis. I'd like to join my co-host, Howard Zion. Howard, what's up?
Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a good day to have another podcast. I'm happy to be recording with you again and looking forward to another edition of the Chat Nap. And we got a great guest today we're going to have on today. It'll be another in addition to our second season, which, by the way, we're growing. So people are
We are.
talking and people are telling, come listen to these couple of crazy guys because they
Just
like to,
because we say the word is getting out doesn't mean you shouldn't stop sharing. So let's get it built up. We want to build up a larger audience. We are growing in the audience, but I'd love to have some more.
so we probably should ask every time we do the podcast, we should probably say, if you listen to it, pass the link on to somebody else. We need to probably promote it ourselves more than we do during the podcast because we really don't, we really don't promote it much. And we look back at the 12, 13, 14, whatever we've done so far.
Yeah.
We really haven't self-promoted too much. Maybe we need to do that
I'll
more.
tell two friends, and each of them will tell two friends, and each of those will tell two friends. The next thing you know, it's grown out of control.
There we go. I like your thinking. Well, who wouldn't wanna listen to a couple of guys that's been around forever, Together, you and I probably have close to 100 years in the field of metrology. Been there, done that. The joke is that I've forgotten more than I could possibly learn at this point in time, has been around as old as I am.
Yeah, there's a trail of forgottenness behind you.
Yeah.
I tell you, the thing I love about our podcast, not just our talk, right, back and forth, but getting to know each of our guests at a deeper level than I had before,
Right.
right? And some of the people I know really well. Others I just kinda know from seeing them at conferences or events, and so this gives us more detail. And some of the ones that we've had already this season, season 2, really incredible information. I love to hear those details and understand that person at a deeper level.
You hit it. I couldn't have said it better, Howard. You hit it right on the head because today's guest, Patrick Jester, the president and founder of Blackthorn Consulting Group, is exactly that person.
Yeah.
We know him from the conferences. We know him from, what he does in our community, but we don't know him. So today, I think we'll get a great chance to learn more about him, exactly who he is.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that. So let's talk about our guest today. As I said, it's Patrick Jester. He's been around for a long time as well. He's got 30 plus years in metrology. He spent a lot of time in the Army as well. He's got, I think like 6 to 8 years in the Army working in aviation.
Mhm.
Patrick is an author. He's wrote a book called Pillars of Command: The Core Values of Leadership. He's a lead assessor for 17025. He conducts assessments for, I think, three of the major accreditation bodies in the United States.
Mhm.
Um, he is a jurisprudent, which we'll get into that as well. So he's got a law degree, but he's not a practicing attorney. He prefers to use his law degree to help people do regulatory stuff. And speak of the individual, well, there he is. Patrick, welcome to Chat Nap with the AI Chatterbots. I'm
Glad
looking
to have you
forward
here,
to a
Patrick.
great conversation today.
Yeah,
So happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
fantastic. So yeah, we were talking about, your time in the metrology field, over 30 years, right? Um,
Metrology for just over 20. I was in aviation for 10 years. I've been in metrology for 20. Actually, looking at the calendar, 22 years. Now, so it's actually
time
22
escapes
years.
us. Yes, it does. Let's talk about your Army days. Tell
Okay.
us what you did in the Army and how you actually ended up joining the Army.
I moved to California from Louisiana when I was 14 years old. Life changing experience for sure. It was the best move that I could have made because while I was here, I was a failing student. I moved to California, continued to not do very well for my first year and a half in California. This was Fortuna, California, which is Humboldt County, Northern California. Not to be mistaken with San Francisco calling it Northern California. It's not, it's Central California. So Humboldt County is true Northern
That is
California.
up there. So you're in the
It's
redwoods up there, right?
yes, absolutely.
Beautiful area.
I could walk into the Avenue of the Giants and I could ride my bike to the beach, but you couldn't go
Beautiful.
swimming at the beach because it was too cold.
Yeah,
But
that is
I,
north.
so I moved up there, and when I graduated, as I was graduating high school, Actually, step back a little bit. There was one teacher who actually reached me. He was tired of watching me waste as he said, "I'm tired of watching you waste your potential. I'm going to sit you in this chair. You're going to sit next to me. I'm taking responsibility for your education, and you are going to become a good student if it kills you."
Alright, so what topic did that teacher, uh,
He
teach
taught me.
for the
He
school?
literally took over my entire education. Taught
Yeah.
me everything except for shop, and because I changed schools, I moved over
Oh.
a school that could was hyper focused on students who just didn't seem to care.
So
um,
had anyone else tried to do that and you kinda pushed away at him, and this is the one that got through, or was this the
Not
only
really.
person in your life?
There were teachers who I really respected,
Mhm.
but this teacher at first was kinda scary. He was just serious about it. He's a, "You have too much potential, you're wasting it." Sat me down next to him, and he took responsibility for my entire education.
Thank God for
And
people like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
absolutely. So he reached me, and he said, "I will not I expect nothing but excellence out of you, Mr. Jester." And so he gave me a book. He said, "You will read this book and you will write a report on it, and
Mm.
it better be fantastic." So I did, and he handed it back to me. He said, "This stinks. You're going to do it again." So I
That's
did,
awesome.
and he said, "This is the work I'm talking about." And
Yeah,
from that moment, it changed my perspective. He reached
that
me. He showed me that what he was talking about. I actually realized because I've been told all my life, "Oh, you have so much potential. You have so much potential." I didn't know what that meant.
right. But
And
he gave you an application where you could actually see it and feel it.
he yes. He
That's
gave
great.
me he made me give an example. He didn't show me. He made me show him what excellence was.
Mhm,
He brought it out of me. So I did the work, and that was when I learned about putting in the work
mhm.
and doing the work right and doing it great. And then my father, when I took my first job, told me one life lesson that I've taken with me forever. He told me on my first day going to my job, he said, "Do not do it the best you can do. Do it the best it can be done, because
Hmm,
the best you can do may not be good enough." Now, some people may think that was harsh. Oh, my dad was he's a war baby. I mean, come on.
yeah,
My father grew
different
up in an age
generation.
of a totally different generation,
Yes.
and work was everything. He was a union boss. He was a union welder, boilermaker. He was a tough man. And but I took that with me, and I learned from that day how to give 100% on your job and do it the
That
best it can be done.
statement that he made to you makes you think. I see that as the value of what he said to you. May have been harsh, but what it did is made you think beyond what maybe you were thinking at that time. It expanded your mind to say, "Yeah, I guess I could do better than that." That's fantastic,
And that was the first time I learned about a no limits mentality. Living life with no limits. Do not limit yourself to what you can do.
right?
It took me a long time to get to where I am today with that mindset of no limits. But it was a process that I went through my entire career. So I graduated high school. I actually went from a failing student to a straight A student for 2 straight years in high school. My
Oh,
junior and
you
senior
found
years, I was a straight A student.
you found your purpose and somebody helped you light that match that got the flame going. That's
Yep.
great.
So I earned that high school diploma and gonna go work with my dad and be a boilermaker. And I realized that just I learned to weld, I learned to cut, I learned to burn, I learned how to fit.
Mhm.
And then I realized this just is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I joined the army. I took the ASVAB. They made me take it like 3 times because they kept saying, "There's no way. There's no way.
Really?
There's no way that you had to have cheated. You had to have cheated," because I maxed out everything. And I didn't understand why I had to take it 3 times. So I when I went they accepted my my ASVAB and took the physical, and I went in to MEPS to join, they were going through I basically had my choice of anything I wanted, and I saw Black Hawk helicopter repairer,
Mhm.
or it was tactical transport helicopter repair, and it was explained to me that what it was it was a Black Hawk mechanic, and you become through that, you can become a Black Hawk flight crew chief, and that appealed to me. I was
Mhm.
"I want that." So And guys, that was the best job in the Army. I don't care what anybody says. That is the best job in the Army. And I spent 8 years doing that
Yeah.
and loved it and worked with some of the finest leaders. Actually, one of my platoon leaders just retired as a major general on the general staff at the Pentagon
Mhm.
in the aviation branch, Robert Berry, and he just recently retired. I had Sergeant Major Brian Howitt, who was I went to school with to to what was called your advanced individual training.
Mhm.
He was 2 classes ahead of me, and he retired a command sergeant major, and, he was one of the finest leaders ever. Jesse Martin, I write about him in my book. Amazing leader, still in contact with these guys today. Just amazing leaders that helped me become who I am today.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so as I deployed to Bosnia, I deployed to northern Iraq during Operation Provide Comfort. I went for Operation Provide Comfort 2.
Mhm.
Bosnia was a hot mess. Um, it's probably the reason why I left the army. But
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, I'm going to leave that one there.
Yeah.
Um,
Understood.
but it just wasn't worth it. The military was worth it.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm proud of my service. I support veterans causes. I support every all of my veteran friends. My brother is a retired master sergeant. He is a bona fide hero and just an amazing human. So I have a military history in my family. Both of my grandfathers were Army. My brother and I were Army. My nephew was Air Force.
Mhm.
So proud history of the military.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's an honor to serve.
All right. So you told us where you've gone with the military, and from there, where did you go right after that?
So right after the Army, when I got out, actually I worked for my stepfather for about 2 weeks. Actually, less than that. It was really more like a day. So he was a bricklayer. He not just brick. We're talking industrial block. And I went out on a job for 1 day, and that was the hardest work I have ever done in my life. Now
Yeah.
I was
You can
young,
blame
but
me.
I was ill prepared for that. That
Yeah.
I have nothing but respect for those guys. That is some tough work. It's
Yeah.
hot, it's gritty, it's just it's
I
it's
look at a
rough.
number of different professions, and I've been doing this with metrology for 43 years now. And I am grateful for this career field. I've loved it every step of the way. It's never gotten old or boring to me. I've always moved around different disciplines and up through management levels and done all kinds of different things. But the point being, it makes me appreciate that when I look at what other people do. And I appreciate what other people do with all these different types of jobs that I myself don't think I could do. Right. And society can't exist without them.
Right.
So I appreciate that, but it also makes me appreciate metrology.
And oh, absolutely. Growing up in metrology, my first job in metrology, I was working on my first engineering degree,
Mhm.
and I saw an ad in the paper for calibration technician at a company here in Baton Rouge, and I'll go ahead and say the name, JM Test Systems.
Mhm.
They um, they gave me my first opportunity in metrology, and when I first hired on, I didn't fully understand what it was. I
Right.
knew it was science of measurement. I knew that, which is a lot more than most people did, because when most people hear metrology, they say, "I don't want to be a weatherman,"
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's
right?
typical.
I don't tell the weather. I calibrate the instruments that tell you what the weather's going to be.
Yeah, among other
So,
things.
and among many other things, right?
Uh,
So, I was hired on to because I was studying microelectronic engineering. I was put in electrical DC low and was working as a technician in the electrical DC low area, doing actually doing more process instruments such as Fluke 744s,
Yep.
uh, Alltech process calibrators, things like that,
Mm.
and then also oscilloscopes, higher frequency and higher end electronics.
That's a perfect marriage. You're going to school, you're learning theory and all this detail. You're applying some of that at work. You're seeing how it
Yeah.
actually
Yeah,
applies to everyday living and production and manufacturing. I think that's the best way to learn.
absolutely. I moved from there into thermodynamics, working in thermometry.
Right.
doing basic thermometers, and then moved to PRTs and intrinsic standards such as triple points of water,
Mhm.
um, the various cells, and it just I learned a lot there. I spent another year and a half in that department, and then I floated around the lab and I learned pressure and all the different mechanical disciplines, torque, force, and just began to really love metrology. But I didn't enjoy being in the lab.
Hmm.
I wanted to go out on site and be a mobile calibration technician.
Right.
So eventually, over a 8-year period, I worked my way from just being a bench technician in the field to actually leading teams and running the lab. I had a
Mhm.
CDL, so I was able to haul the mobile laboratory. You had to have a CDL to do it.
Yeah.
So that CDL kind of paid for itself. And as I moved on into my career, so deeper into it, I thought I was going to leave metrology. I wanted to go to law school. I had just passion to go to law school.
Right.
So I started preparing to go, and I found myself trying to get there, and there was no way I was gonna be able to do it while working at JM Test Systems
Was
because I
there
stayed on the
any
road.
special event in your life that drove that passion for to
I'm
become
glad you
become a lawyer?
asked. I'm glad you asked. Yes, there was. Number 1, I'd always wanted to. So I'm gonna tell a little bit story about my wife. So when I was in high school, I had the thought possibly I wanted to go to law school,
Mhm.
but I just couldn't see how I was gonna get there. I didn't 1, I didn't believe I was smart enough. I didn't believe that had what it took to do so. I had an experience with with the court, not in a bad way. That I just, for me, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
I actually got to go and experience the courtroom, and I thought this is very interesting, and thought maybe I should go this way, maybe. And but again, I didn't believe I had what it took mentally to do it, and certainly didn't believe I had the financial means of doing it because
Mhm.
I was a teenager. How was I going to afford
Yeah.
law school?
How are you gonna come up with that? Seems
Right,
monumental at that point, doesn't it?
right. So then years go by. My wife and I meet, and I start school while we're dating, and about a third of the way through the program, I start realizing I can do this. I'm actually smart enough to do this,
Mhm. Step
and
at a time, day at a time, topic
yeah,
at a
and
time,
then
right?
then she and I sat down and I was talking to her. I said, Carol, I don't know if engineering's where I'm gonna want to stay. And she asked me, and we were dating, we weren't married yet. She said, well, Patrick, what is it that's in your heart that you just want to do?
Mhm.
What would you do if you weren't going to do engineering? And I was scared to death to tell her. I really was. I was like, she's gonna laugh at me, telling me you're thinking way too big. And I told her, I said, I think I want to go to law school. And she said, okay, then that's what you'll do. Just like that.
Great support.
No, no scoffing at me. No, you're reaching too high, Patrick. No, she believed in me. She said, then that's what you're gonna do. And that's what we did. So in order to do that, I wasn't gonna be able to stay at JM Test Systems because the way the way they operate, I needed if I was gonna be on site, I had to be on site. If I was gonna be in the lab, I had to be focused on the lab, and I don't believe they really wanted me to go to school again.
Mhm.
I'll just be honest with you, I'm not sure that they did. And they've had a total changeover in management, they may be totally different now, I don't know. But I'll just say they are a good company. I do wanna say that. JM
Mhm.
Test Systems is a good company, so metrologists, if you're out there and you're in anywhere they are, looking for a job, JM may be a good place for you. But that being said, I leave JM Test Systems and I go to I was working with a guy who worked for GT Michele Company here in Baton Rouge, and he said, "Hey, come check us out." So I applied, and I interviewed with Joel McMullen, and they hired me to be a scale technician.
Mhm.
Well, to be a scale technician,
You're on the
need to
road.
have a CDL to drive the heavy duty test truck. You see where that CDL went,
So, I
right?
gotta ask you about that since you mentioned scale technician. We talking all types of scales, different types of scales, cattle,
Anything from a
alright,
grain to a train to an
livestock?
airplane,
Yes. So you had to be certified for that, correct? For each type?
state licensed, state
State
licensed.
license for each type of scale, correct?
Yeah,
For NIST Handbook 44.
Okay.
yeah.
Ordinance Handbook 44, legal for trade, because state agency
Oh,
is
yes.
strictly dealing with legal for trade.
So
Doesn't
that's
cover
exactly right.
balances.
We're
Doesn't
talking
cover
about the
balances
difference now between legal metrology and industrial metrology,
in
which is what
industrial
you were doing
metrology.
before, right, with jam test.
I was doing metrology, and we did scales, and we were state licensed, but we really didn't do that many scales.
Yeah, yeah,
JM or GT Michelli company, now that's a whole different bag of cats when it comes to scales.
yeah.
That is the world of if it weighs,
Yep.
if it
And
weighs,
were
they
you
were doing
doing,
it.
installation of new scales, repair of scales as well, or just
Truck
calibration?
scale, yeah, installations and repairs and calibrations, certifications, placing in service for the state, a state agency for every state they're in
Yes.
to place scales into service and take scales out of service, installing new truck scales and contracting with foundation builders and constructors to build the foundation,
Yeah.
design the foundations, put them in, and install the scales.
So now for people who can't visualize, they're probably thinking their bathroom scale or a doctor scale.
All right.
Maybe
Or
maybe
don't
even
even,
maybe even a scale at the deli, right, or a post office.
yeah.
These scales are huge,
Hmm.
and the size of the weights and the trucks that you have to take to be able to get those weights to the scales and do the calibration on those scales is massive. We're
Yes.
talking one-ton weights, right?
We're talking
500-pound
6,000-pound
weights.
test carts
Yes, test
for
carts
truck
as
scales,
well,
test carts
and
that are
you're
certified.
using a truck with an I-beam and a crane to be able to put the stuff in the truck, and then you're taking it so your gas mileage is horrible, right, for that kind of weight that you're transporting.
Yep.
You have to be licensed in each state,
Yes.
to be able to calibrate those scales and perform that work. It is not a small operation at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. If you're thinking about becoming one guy in a truck scale company, think of something else, please.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much to this,
There's a lot to it.
and GT Michelli Company has it going on when it comes to scales. They do.
Interesting.
They're that they know the business. GT Michelli Jr. or GT Michelli Sr. started the
Mhm.
company back in 1947, and GT Michelli Jr. took it in the 1950s and built it into what it was in when I joined the company
Uh-huh.
in 2011, and then he sold to three of his. They brought in three of his top employees to be partners, and now today they're just massive. So when I joined the company and in 2011 was in law school, I started to the plan was for me to start bringing metrology to the company and help them become ISO 17085 accredited.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I was so used to the hours I was making at JM Test Systems, I couldn't afford to stay. I had
Mhm.
to do something else. So I went back to JM Test Systems for 2 years, and then as as time went, I finished the degree I'd been working on
Right.
and was getting ready to start law school. And I found myself in a position where I was able to go back to GT Michelli Company
Hmm.
because I'd fallen in love with that company. It was
Yeah.
I just knew in my heart it was a great company. So I went back to GT Michelli Company and I brought metrology with me.
Right.
Now at the time, I didn't think I was going to be staying that long. I thought I was going to finish law school and go practice law. As anyone probably should know or even or realize that if you're going to stay in metrology, it's not by choice. You didn't choose it. It chose you.
Yeah.
Metrology chooses you because you don't, you know, this is a different world. That's
It is.
why it's a why you'll see a lot of people come and go. They don't just a lot of people just don't stay in metrology. They'll leave and go do something else. They'll go into process technology or they'll go into management of something else. They'll go into automotive, aviation, blah 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 blah.
They
They'll
do.
leave.
It's amazing the number of people that I went through tech school with in the Air Force, right, at, Lowry. A lot of them did leave the metrology industry pretty quickly, within 5 years. But it's amazing still that whole 2 degrees of separation. If you don't know somebody directly, you know someone they know, right?
Yeah,
Because there's still a lot that's how many people went through these schools, right, back in the '70s, '80s, '90s even, that there's still that 2 degrees of separation from people that you've been through school with. I just
yeah,
met somebody, one of my customers, a month ago, who was out at Lowry at the same time I was. We were on different shifts for the school, but incredible, right, that there's that many people that went through the tech schools for female.
yeah. And what I love about this industry, probably more than anything else, I started meeting people.
Mhm.
I put myself out there when I realized that I was going to stay in this industry because it chose me, and I love it, and I chose to apply my Juris Doctor to regulatory compliance, which hello, that's what metrology is. It's all about regulatory compliance and measurement, which makes me unique,
Fair
positions me
trade.
uniquely. But
It's
one
all
of the
about
things that
fair trade. This is why the entire traceability chain falls under the Department of Commerce.
that's
All
right.
about fair trade.
That's right. So as I begin to put myself out there and become known in the industry, people that were my heroes, that I looked up to, and I wanted to know them. I
Mhm,
wanted to learn from them. I wanted to sit at their feet and learn everything I could learn from them. And what is so beautiful about this industry is you would think, I thought those people would just be standoffish and push me away and say, "You don't belong here.
right.
Get away from me, kid. You bother me." But they weren't. I'll give you one example. Henry Zumbrin Morehouse was, I was mesmerized by him every time I'd hear him speak or see his
Mhm,
products, or I was just blown away. And I walked up to him at an NCSLI event and shook his hand and said, "Hey, how you doing?" Or it was actually an A2LA event. Shook his hand and said, "Hey, my name is Patrick Jester." And he actually said, "Hey, nice to finally meet you."
yeah,
He knew who I was,
you
and I
know,
was
yeah.
blown away. I was blown away.
And I've known of you
And
for years, right? I know Chuck has as well, and this is us getting to know you quite a bit better and our audience tuning in to hear all this about you, which is fantastic. It's the part that I love about our podcast.
uh,
So go ahead. We just had Henry on as, one of our guests a
yeah,
couple of episodes ago, so
I
fantastic.
heard Henry. So Henry was so giving of himself to me
Mhm,
and pouring into me and mentoring me and learning more about force and learning more about things. And we became colleagues and friends,
mhm,
which blew me away when I realized we're not just colleagues, we're friends.
yeah,
And we were able to we I went on his podcast. Whenever I have a chance to get together with Henry, we do.
mm,
Dilip Shaw, another one that just a gem of this industry. That every time I have an opportunity to spend with Dilip and just soak up not just his knowledge, but just who he is
yeah,
as a human being, I love it. Heather Wade, another amazing assessor, amazing metrology professional,
absolutely.
helped lead me into, and we could talk about this more, helped lead me into being a consultant. And just, she's amazing. So, and then, Chuck, I met Chuck at, I think we met at MSC,
Yeah.
and for the first time. I was one of your customers, and we struck up a conversation at MSC because at that time when I was at GT Michele Company, I was one of your customers, and we had begun to build a GT Michele Company NAPT relationship,
Right.
and that was a great relationship. So I met Chuck that way, and so just continuing to grow in this industry. One
Did
of
I
the things
kick
I
you away, Patrick? Did I tell you to get away, Laura? Did I kick you away and tell you to go?
get away from me, kid, you bother me. No, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. But as I continue to grow in this industry, one of the things I realized just several years ago, it was about 4 years ago, I began to realize that I'm not just building the GT Michele Company brand. I'm actually building Patrick
Yeah.
Jester is becoming a brand.
Yes.
And I was like, how does that happen? How did that work? And now that I'm on my own, Blackthorn Consulting Group is my company, but I'm the brand. Patrick
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jester is the brand.
Now how
I'm
did
the
you come up
face of
with
the brand.
that name? Was that something that
I'm
was,
glad you
deliberate?
asked. I'm glad you asked. Thank you for asking that question. So I am a huge John Wayne fan.
Oh,
Anyone who knows me well knows that I'm a huge John Wayne fan. I own every one of his movies, everything about him, his character, his core values of excellence. Or it's integrity first, integrity, leadership, and excellence. Those are his three core values. They're mine too.
well, there goes your question, Chuck, about favorite, actor,
I
favorite
know.
movie.
Yeah.
So I just love John Wayne, and so I knew that one way or another, my business was going to have John Wayne in it somehow. One of my favorite movies is Rio Lobo. His character, Cord McNally, comes from a town called Blackthorn, Texas.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I love that name, Blackthorn, Texas.
That is a cool
And
name.
so in Blackthorn, Texas, there was an E at the end. Well, I dropped the E.
Uh,
And so, but that's where it came from, was from John Wayne,
that's great.
Blackthorn, Texas,
Love
Blackthorn
love to hear
Consulting
that.
Group.
Yeah.
So now we can't ask you who's your favorite movie, who's your favorite,
Oh, I can tell
actor, or
no, Rio Lobo is not my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie of his.
Okay.
okay. What is your
Not
favorite movie?
The Godfather.
No kidding. Oh,
We have another
Patrick,
one.
you are a brother from another mother.
Yeah.
I
Have you
love The
listened to our
Godfather.
you haven't listened to our podcast because I preach The Godfather is probably the best movie that I've ever seen in my life.
It is.
I
It's
saw that when I was a young man and come to life, it just blew me away and I've loved it ever since.
yeah.
So I'm writing some things on The Godfather, some takeaways that I have from The Godfather. So
Mhm.
it'll be in one of my books at some point,
Nice.
or it might be in my Substack. We'll see.
You know what it is? It's the Godfather. If I'm, I had some health issues a couple years now. I would be laying down, resting, and The Godfather would come on, and I would watch it. I must have seen The Godfather 100 times in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
100. I'm not kidding you. I probably know every single line in that stupid movie. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing. So I'm glad to see that you like that movie and enjoy it as much as I do.
So there's a line from the movie that most people would probably dismiss as really nothing, but it there was a time in my life where there was someone who was kind of an antagonist who really looked down me, talked down about me and on me, and it was getting to me. And then my brother and sat down, and he said, "You know what? That dude's like a yellow number 3 Uno card.
Mm.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yellow number 3 Uno card. So this is actually laser burned in." There was a line from The Godfather that personified what it is to someone to just to say you're not even worth my time.
Right.
You're not worth dealing with. And it was, let's see if I can get to show up. To tie you as a pimp.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
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 To tie you as a pimp. And
Yeah.
you see the
Great.
cat. The cat was from Godfather too, as well. So there's a
Oh,
story
yeah.
about the cat that I
Yep.
can tell.
Yep.
But that is one of my I have Godfather stuff all over my office over here in my bookshelf. In one of my bookcases over here, there's Godfather stuff everywhere.
Mhm.
Nice.
And so you don't have to worry about the little people. These small people, these little people that they're just going to throw rocks at you all the time because they're not worth your time. To tie you as a pimp is the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's a
Is just
distraction.
throw you away. They're just don't worry about him. So the cat from Godfather, by the way, was not to be in the movie. The
Right.
cat walked in on the set, but ended up in the movie. It's so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
So I have a portrait of Don Corleone back here on the wall. It's actually a painted portrait that my brother did for me,
Oh,
Oh, wow.
and
artist.
it's pretty amazing. So yes, I am a huge, huge fan of The Godfather. Part 1 and part 2. Part 3 is okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
There was a
We've
couple
had that
parts in it.
discussion before.
There, if we Chuck, if you and I can ever sit down, because we won't get into it, because this would take the entire podcast to
It
talk about
would. Yeah.
Godfather trilogy. But there's some things in Godfather 3 that are really, really good. So anyway, so yes, my that's my favorite movie of all time. I really can't tell you who my favorite actor would be because there are so many amazing actors. Humphrey Bogart. I love older movies. I'm a black and white
Yeah,
fan.
Oh,
If it's
yeah.
raining, something black and white's playing in my
yeah,
Oh,
town.
we
yeah.
talk about this all the time as well. We're fans of the older shows and the older movies.
Big fan of Gunsmoke, big fan of, Have Gun Will Travel, that
How
whole 50s, that whole 50s, 60s era.
Yeah, my call sign for a while was Paladin, so
No
Oh,
kidding.
all right, so I wanna ask you more about your book, Core Values of Leadership, Pillars of
mhm.
Command. Tell us a little bit about that book, what led you to write it, and how long did it take you to put that together, publish it?
Okay, so how long did it take to put it together? I was speaking on it for about 2 years before I finished the book.
Ah,
And it's not a long book, it's a very short read.
okay.
You can read it in an hour. Um, but it meant a lot to me. So going back 2015, I believe it was, I was in law school and I was looking around the world at everything that was happening, what was happening in Missouri, what was happening in politics. You see, watching political leaders just, which not a shocker, political leaders making mistakes and falling. But if you know anything, if you do know anything about me, I am a person of faith. My faith means everything to me.
Mhm,
Um, and I was watching church leaders fall. I was seeing just things happen, and it was affecting me deeply.
mhm,
And especially in law school, where my brain is being trained a different way to think even more analytical than I already was. And I was analyzing the world, and I was trying to make sense of what was going on. And then I realized this is a failure of leadership. This is a lack of leader, people failing to lead.
mhm,
And it affected me to the point that I went and sat down with my pastor, and I shared with him what I was feeling and what I was seeing. And he said, "That's great, Patrick. I'm glad to see you reaching out and thinking about these things. Now, what are you going to do about it?" Oh my gosh, you just threw down the gauntlet, Pastor Jay. And I realized then, I was like, who am I? I am no one. I am just this little person in law school, the little local guy. Who am I? So I realized then, if I'm going to affect change and tell people about leadership, I have to become a full-time student of leadership.
mhm,
And so I did. I mean, this side of my library is probably 400 different books on just on leadership. I mean, John Maxwell and Deming and Ishikawa and these are quality leaders, but they're leadership principles that they taught. So I have all these books on leadership and legal leaders and business leaders and church, faith leaders of the faith all over the place. And I immersed myself in it. And the greatest leader for me was John Maxwell.
mhm.
He just impacted my life deeply. Doesn't know me from Adam, but impacted me deeply. And you'll probably see it in my writing. So he so I began to research the topic and I decided, you know what, I want to try to write a book on it. And in doing so, I started putting together presentations and I gave the presentation at the 2023 A2LA annual conference in Tucson.
Mhm.
First time I'd ever spoken on it. And I had the the second largest crowd next to General Bill. And the only reason why is it was the same size room, but I wasn't counted as an attendant. Everybody stayed for my after General Bill, everyone stayed for my talk,
Yeah.
and including General Bill. And afterwards I realized that with the reaction I got, people needed this. People needed to hear it. They were hungry for that.
Mhm.
So I decided to write the book. Well, 2 years later, I hadn't finished it. I'm sitting there trying to finish it and trying to finish it, but I felt like I kept updating it and updating it and updating it, and I thought it needed to be longer. And my sister-in-law, who owns Rope Swing Publishing and is a best-selling author and world-known author, and is my publisher, told me, she said, "You don't it doesn't need to be longer than that. You actually, it's fine where it's at." So she published my book,
Well, that's the
and
type of topic that you could write multiple books about, right? So you could keep writing a book forever if you would try to publish all at once.
yep.
There's just so
So
much to say about it and so many topics that it leads to.
and I
So,
have a new
I
one
think she's
coming.
right. That was probably great advice to say, "Let's cut it off here. That's good. Good
I
enough.
have
Let's keep
another
it
one
there."
coming that's about the same length,
There we go.
and it's on leadership.
Yeah.
So that one will be coming out next year. But so the core values of leadership, that's where it came from. And I pull from faith, I pull from pop culture, especially Star Trek. Mm, um, and I pull from going back, a lot from a lot of biblical principle, a lot of business leaders, political leaders, just historical, just historical leaders from all over the globe. And I these core values that I claim as the core values of leadership aren't necessarily all of the core values of leadership. They're just the ones that mean the most to me.
Good point.
You know, anyone can, we all have our own values. We don't, if we didn't have values, we wouldn't, even if they're not good values, everyone has values and we're not human without them. And so these were just the ones that mean the most to me and impact me the most as
Yeah.
far as the core values of leadership. Now, my business core values are integrity, which is one of the values in the book, but leadership and excellence are the other two from my business, and they're not include those two are not included in the book, but they're inclusive within the other core values.
All right. Now you mentioned
Um,
integrity, which is a topic that we love to talk about. But prior to us starting the podcast, you had also talked about ethics versus morals, and I thought that was an important point that I'd like you to expand on for the audience.
sure. So in the construct that we were speaking of, think about the legal profession. What was hard for me to learn in law school was that there is a difference between being morally correct and being ethically correct.
Mhm.
You can be as ethical as the day is long because ethics are not value based. Their construct is in what is legally right,
Mhm.
right? So what is legally right and professionally right doesn't have anything to do with morals. You can be ethical and be immoral. And morality, a lot of people believe is subjective. I don't think it is. I believe that if you're a murderer, you're immoral. If you're an adulterer, you're immoral.
Mhm.
If you are a thief, you're immoral. If you're a liar, habitual liar, you're immoral. Now, let's get this straight. Now, the Bible says we're all sinners and all fallen short. Okay, so I'm not saying that just because you're a sinner, you're immoral.
Right.
We're all sinners, all of us, every single one of us. We're all imperfect. None of this has to do with perfection. It has to do with having a moral center or moral compass and doing what's right. That's integrity.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think that it's difficult to be immoral and follow ethics? I know that can happen, but
It's hard. It's for me. It's hard to say that you're moral and not ethical.
yeah,
I think your moral compass would drive you to do what's ethically
I
correct.
would think so too. Yeah.
But we all fail. We all make mistakes. Making mistakes isn't the problem. When you do something that's immoral and unethical and don't care, you're
Mhm.
immoral and unethical. There's plenty of people like out there.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, people want to be ethical and they want to be moral.
I
Is
would argue that, Patrick. I think that we're seeing, unfortunately, the decline of,
oh,
mankind
well, yeah.
because I think we had that old 80-20 rule. I think we're finding where we're probably at 30-70, maybe even greater, where there are more people today that are unethical and immoral than there were 100 years ago. I think we're turning as a society to become unethical and immoral, and that's going to be the downside of mankind. But that's
No,
just,
I agree.
I don't want to go too far into that, but that's just my personal opinion. Is
And I'll tell you where it lies. It's a heart condition. Examine your heart before you judge someone. I'm not telling you not to judge. That's not the Bible doesn't say that you can't judge. It just says, judge lest you be judged.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Before you judge someone, judge your heart. Check your heart. What is your heart actually telling you?
Yeah. And that's the whole being introspective to understand how what you do affects others and wanting to
Yes.
make sure that you not only take care of yourself, but you don't hurt others in the process.
Yeah. And that goes to the Hippocratic oath of first do no harm.
yeah. Well, one of the questions that we always like to ask our guests is, you've kind of hinted at some people that have had a huge, effect on your life. We know that there's three people that you have. Is there anyone outside of the 3 that you can share that had a huge impact, like a George S. Patton or a Thomas Sowell or, Martin Friedman, something like that, that really affected your life?
Well, I mean, I already mentioned John Maxwell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
John Maxwell is not only just a world-renowned, guru, so to speak, on leadership. He was the pastor of the largest church in the United States for a long time, Skyline Church, and I think it was San Diego.
And you think he
Um,
had the most impact on your life as a mentor?
and as a mentor and as a in leadership, absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
He absolutely, without even knowing me, his writings and his beliefs. But one of the things that he taught me, and a lot of people probably have never heard him say this because it's in one book, says, "Be careful about putting your mentors and your leaders on pedestals because that's a long way to fall."
Mhm.
Sure.
I made that mistake. I put someone on a pedestal, and then he did some things that were both immoral and unethical inside our industry. And when he ordered me to do something that was unethical and immoral, and I refused, he told me he didn't give a bleep about what's moral and ethical.
Mm, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is.
That was the most jagged pill I've ever swallowed, and that probably was the turning point in our relationship,
Yeah.
and part of what shifted me into the direction I'm in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so it was it. I don't know. I can't say that the teaching of John Maxwell wouldn't, not having that teaching would have changed my vision in that, but it certainly, that rule was ringing in my head
Mhm.
after he fell from the pedestal.
Sure.
Yeah.
That I had him up there on a high, high pedestal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
He was my mentor, my
you've
hero,
you've lived it,
my
and now you understand fully what he meant.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And I haven't been able to, I haven't recovered from that
right.
Oh,
with that person.
okay.
I've
Alright,
not
And
recovered.
I appreciate that, and,
He doesn't
next
know that he
oh,
fell from that pedestal. I never spoke to him about it again, but
oh,
I just left it.
mhm,
And maybe if he hears it, he'll know it's him, but will he hear it? Probably not. But what led me to, then another great mentor is my pastor, my current pastor, Jay Coleman, who's pastor of Journey Church here in Central Greenville Springs. Just an amazing, amazing leader. But honestly, one of the greatest impactful person would be my stepdad. When he married my mother, I was already a grown man,
mhm,
when he married my mother. And just an amazing human being, just amazing human, amazing Christian leader, mentor, dad, father to his daughters, been being a dad to me, a father to me.
mhm,
I have a father. I'm not, I love my father, but my stepdad impacted me in a way that, in business and in life as a husband, he really impacted me because, you know, when I was before I met my wife, I was I decided that when I looked for, who my mate is going to be, what did I want?
mhm,
What did I want in a mate? And I literally, when I was praying about it, I said, God, bring me a woman who has the ethics, the morals, the godliness, just the female version of Lester Arnold. And boy, did the Lord not deliver that.
no kidding.
My wife reminds me so much of him. Just the way, just his innocence, her innocence is the same. Her work ethic, her faith, her strength, her vulnerability, is just like him. He personified to me what a husband is supposed to be, the way
Mhm,
he is with my mother. So I wanted to be that to my wife,
sure.
but I
Sure.
also wanted my wife to be to me what he is to my mother. and I got that.
That's fantastic. Hey, let's go
Yeah.
back to
Oh,
your teacher who impacted you and set you on the straight path for education and learning. Is that person
Edward Becker.
still alive? And
No,
had you
when
ever
I
reached back
graduated
out?
law school, I looked for him
You did.
and I found that he passed away. But I'm telling you, I mean, that man impacted my education for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Got me through high school
Yeah.
and ensured that I understood, what excellence looks like
Mhm.
and and to accept nothing less than excellence.
It's too
Not
bad you
perfection,
Howard,
weren't
but
able
excellence.
to reconnect with him. That would have been wonderful.
Yep.
Howard, have you had anybody that affected you as much as they affected Patrick? Anyone like that? Any teacher that sat you down and put you on a straight and
Yeah,
narrow?
there's a couple. So when I think of teachers, I go back to my freshman year in high school, and I didn't really apply myself well in high school. My father died when I was 12, and I just kind of felt lost in the world after that. And my mother was wonderful, right? She did what she could, but it wasn't the same as the relationship I had with my father, right? Because we were very close. So this algebra teacher somehow got me interested. He didn't have a direct statement that he said to me like your teacher did for you, Patrick, but he just got me interested in applying myself. And for the first time, I did my homework every night for that class. I didn't do it for all of them, right? So it's not like I didn't do it throughout all of high school. I did better, but I had 100 on every test, every exam in that class. I had a perfect 100 score in Algebra 1 in high school
Wow.
because he cared and he invested his time with me and made me care, right?
Whose paper
So,
Mm,
did you copy off of?
yeah,
definitely not mine.
and I just genuinely liked math anyway, so that helped as well.
That's what's
Now
crazy is I'm in metrology, right?
yeah,
Guess what I hate?
do you
Math.
really?
Math. I have an
Oh,
engineering degree. Guess what I hate? Math.
Well, so that's the
But you know what
funny
I
thing,
like?
right?
Excel.
I did well in trigonometry, but geometry, D. I like a D for the semester. I did not do well. I don't know why I couldn't grasp that, and now I'm using it all the time in dimensional, right?
Right. Trig and dimensional and geometry, trig, and calculus, I did great
Yes.
at. Algebra, I stunk at.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, so that was a good mentor. Just after my father died, there was a friend of the family who owned a construction business, built residential homes, and he took interest in me and took time with me and hired me to shovel the drives of his homes that he's trying to sell in the winter and mow the lawns in the summer and introduced me to a gentleman. I grew up in the Chicago area. And so that's the home of, and I'm trying to think, Holloway candies, which made Milk Duds and, a lot of
Mhm.
taffy candies, slow pokes and all those types of things. And as a reward for doing a great job for him, this guy opens up his trunk and he's got a big box full of all these candies, right? And I'm 13, 14 years old at the time. And he's like, and I'm like, really? I can have one? And he goes, one, take the whole box. And I'm a kid in the candy store, literally.
yeah,
Right.
nice.
But this guy that owned this company just really took time with me, took me out to a Blackhawks game,
Mm.
just tried to not become my father, but just fill in to give me some guidance, right?
So you grew up in the Chicagoland area then?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's where I'm originally from. Now, I'm in Kansas City now because, when I was stationed here at Whiteman Air Force Base, towards the end there is when I met my wife, and her family's here. We lived all over the country for 31 years before we came back here. We've been
Yeah,
back
one
here
of my
for
very best friends is in the Chicagoland area and the Aurora area. So
Oh,
you can
Aurora,
imagine what company this person works for.
yeah. Might it be Minatoyo?
It could be just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And this person is their quality manager. So I wonder if you can guess who that
Oh,
is.
nice.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
We know her very well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
so,
she's she's awesome.
I want to, ask you now, of all the places you've been in the world or on vacation, either business or
Oof.
whatever else,
Oof.
where would you go back to and 100% recommend to other people to go?
Gosh, it's maybe I should tell you where I wouldn't go back to.
Okay.
That
A
would be
lot
a
of great
first.
places then.
Honestly, there's no place that I wouldn't go back to. I think I'd go anywhere. Uh,
Except
I've
Bosnia.
been so many been I Right now, I would not go back to New York right now, but I do love New York City
Mhm.
to visit. I love Washington D.C. to visit. I wouldn't live there,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you a life changing place for me was Tucson.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of this started was in Tucson.
Was
But
that
Tucson,
Raytheon?
that no, that was at A2A ANCON 2023
Oh, okay. Yep.
when I spoke on the core values of leadership for the first time.
Right.
But that event was just life changing. I met so many people during that event that have made an impact on my life. The event itself made massive impact on my life, but I got to spend time with who became my protege and was I was mentoring to become a quality manager.
Mhm.
Um, and just had that was the first time we had that much time to spend together. And I
Right.
love Tucson. I love the terrain. I love the topography. And when the sun goes down,
It's cold.
so no light pollution whatsoever. You look up the
Oh, yeah.
sky and you could
Been
see
there. I know what
just
you're talking
everything.
about.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the Saguaro National Forest. It's just beautiful for me. My wife wouldn't want to go there. She doesn't like that terrain. I do. I love that
Yeah.
topography.
Yeah.
But
That came
yeah,
from your John Wayne movies.
probably yeah, more than likely.
My dad was
Um,
a major, fan of Westerns, right? And, of course, John Wayne as well, but he watched Bonanza and all those different shows, Gunsmoke, right? Wagon Train,
yeah,
and I always thought, "God damn, this is so boring. Boring, dad. I can't stand this." And now that's all I watch.
yeah, that's what
Because
happens.
that built memories with me and my dad, right?
Yeah. So that's a beautiful area. If you have an opportunity to go to drive Highway 101 through Northern California,
Oh, I
I
have.
highly recommend it. It's
My
just
wife and I have
beautiful.
done that. Gorgeous, gorgeous road.
And then I actually really truly enjoyed. I did an assessment in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Mhm.
And for me, that was the most beautiful part of Canada. It just really was. I've been to Quebec, I've been to Ottawa, all beautiful, all
Yeah.
beautiful. But I really enjoyed Edmonton because it felt like Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah, the
really did.
Northern Rockies into Canada, Banff National Park,
Yeah.
that's a bucket list item for us. We did our western trip out through the Rockies and everything, and, Yellowstone and Mount Rushmore, but we definitely wanna get up to that part of Canada.
Yeah. And I was able to go to India this
Oh.
year on an assessment to Bengaluru, which is Bangalore,
Mhm.
Karnataka, and I swore I'd never eat curry again, but
At all.
no, I had it there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Different.
I'll have it again.
No kidding.
It was fantastic. So I
Interesting.
enjoyed that trip. It was totally different. But imagine shrinking down in the shrink machine and get put next to an ant pile and somebody kicks it. Okay. That is India.
Yeah.
Cars everywhere. There's no rules. I mean, it's scary, but it's interesting.
Yeah, and I thought the narrow lanes of Ireland were bad. Probably not
There
for
are
much.
no lanes in India.
Yeah, I just go wherever you
Well,
want.
unfortunately, guys, we're almost out of time, so we're gonna have you back here.
I'll be happy to come back on, guys. This has been fun. It really
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, I
I like.
really enjoy having you here.
I told you guys in the beginning. I like unscripted. I'm an
Yeah,
open book. Just if you have a question, ask. I'll answer it.
okay.
As we say in South Louisiana, I ain't scared. So I'll be happy to come on anytime you'll have me. This
And
has
some of the
been this has
best
been a good
food in
time.
the country comes from Louisiana.
Come down.
My favorite.
Come on down. Come on down.
Patrick, you know you're only 4 hours away from where I live.
Where do you live?
Little Rock, south of Little Rock.
Oh my gosh, my dad lives in up near Eureka, and Pea Ridge is the name of the town.
Oh, I know where Rika is.
You're
I've only lived here
you're
3 years
closer
now.
in geography to him than you are to me.
I know.
Wow.
And you're in St. Louis,
Kansas
you
City.
said?
Kansas
Kansas
City.
City?
Yeah, we're 6 hours apart.
Yeah, NCSLI, Kansas City.
Next year, though, you got it. And the
Yeah,
We're gonna
30th
we're
anniversary of NAPT, we're celebrating that as well.
we're
you're
gonna
gonna
have a
do it in
big
Kansas
party.
City while we're there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Sunday
Oh,
Yeah.
night.
yeah, we'll celebrate.
You
Absolutely.
you better be there.
I have no choice. I'm on the board of directors.
Maybe in time for the NCSLI event next year, we'll have you back before that because you'll be taking over, right? Yeah, next year after NCSLI?
Well, it will be okay. So I am on the slate. I've been voted on to for executive vice president,
Mhm.
which if if I was elected to executive vice
Then
president,
that puts you in,
then
yes.
I
Okay.
become president upon Jeff Gus as his term ends, will become president
Okay. Understand.
for 2 years. And I have a lot more learning to do. There's so much to learn about being president of that organization, but I'm looking forward to it and I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So with that being said, we're over an hour. Howard, anything you want to say before we call it a day here?
Just to extend my thanks to Patrick for being here today. Really great to get to know you more and looking forward to spend more time with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Howard.
I really appreciate everything. It was a great interview. Fabulous. I learned a lot myself today. Patrick, anything that you'd like to add before we pull the curtain?
Yeah, I do have another book coming out hopefully by the end of the year. It's called, get my title right. It is the Total Quality Management Handbook for Calibration Laboratories.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
We look forward to seeing that.
All right.
Any time frame on when
Final
that'll come up?
words.
It's supposed to be by the end of the year. It's coming back from editing. As soon as it comes back from editing and I send it back, it should be 2, 3 weeks and then it's out.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Great. Great.
All right.
Well, we gotta give a plug to our sponsor, NEPT. They're the one that sponsors us, so we want to thank them. And as we mentioned, we don't want to spend too much time because we still got a whole month left before we do it. But 2026 is going to be a big year for NEPT. 30 years in business, and we're going to celebrate every single day of 2026 as the first day. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 30 years since NAP started, but we'll have plenty of time. So with that being said, if you want to prove your technical competency, whether it's for accreditation or otherwise, just prove that you're technically competent, you need to enroll in proficiency tests, whether it's with NEPT or anybody. You need to do proficiency testing to prove yourself. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening. Spread the word, tell your friends about our podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.